What is your opinion of the way the artist is represented?
Well, I think it's pretty well done because the person you've actually chosen to be in your video, we all know him personally, and we all know that he can actually represent, as you said, the game. Like in that, the screenshot you showed, everyone can imagine him in that, and also just him as himself. The way he represented himself actually fits to your video, so I think that's pretty well done.
We didn't actually hear him rap him, so it's quite hard to know what he sounds like, to see whether he would match, because you didn't play any of him. Can you just play a bit now?
Sure.
If your PowerPoint's still on. Yeah, I think he looks like this. It's got a good grain of voice. He does look like that would come out of Dominic, doesn't it, in terms of the tone of the voice and what Dominic looks like. What were you getting to wear and stuff? What are you thinking in terms of mise-en-scène, apart from obviously when he's in the mental asylum?
Yeah, I was just thinking like quite blacked out clothes, hoodies, just black jeans.
So you're going to get a black person to wear more black
it's just,
and then film against a green screen or not, or film against a white? In all seriousness,
no, it's like it's going to be on white background. Like that's what I'm looking for.
You will have to think about how you're going to have to probably do some test shots with him, because the light just gets pulled out with the skin tone and all black as well. So you might have to do some test costumes to make that work.
Okay. How well does the song fit with the music video style shown?
I really like your idea of the fact you want putting this mental sort of vibe in it, with the mental side and all that, because the song obviously itself with the piano kind of discord, it has some sort of like eeriness to it, that sort of like, and the fact that you're portraying that in the video as well, I think it's pretty good.
I like as well the idea where we're going to start with like the darkest part of it, and then as the video progresses it's actually like him sort of coming out of it. It's like a reverse type. Is that what you're saying? Like the flashbacks are of happier times?
Yes, the flashbacks will start bad and then get better.
So they almost, at the end, it almost meets together sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are the key concepts that will work, that this work will address?
I like how you put it into like a mental hospital, because and he's sitting by himself, so the audience can really connect with him because there's nothing else going on around it. So I think that's one a good bit.
I think you've got to be careful in terms of representation of mental illness. I think that would be something that, sorry to interrupt you, Raj, because it's quite offensive in lots of ways, isn't it? That's how mentally ill people are always seen, as being like in a straitjacket, like completely foaming at the mouth and things like that. And actually most mentally ill people, like any of us could be mentally ill in this room now, it's like depression, things like that. So I think you have got to be careful sometimes about that. So if you are going to do it, I think you have to almost go overboard, so it's almost a comedy representation rather than trying to pretend that that's anything like real life, because it's probably not really. There probably aren't that many people who are like that. You know, they have to be in secure units and things like that. So, Niraj.
Your video is a narrative, or is it following a narrative?
It's a non-linear narrative.
Yeah, I think that is quite a good concept in your video, because it's non-linear, but then obviously at the end it adds up to make a big image. So I think that works pretty well, and that's probably the one you can talk about most, really.
Are there any problems that you can anticipate?
As Miss said, the contrast, if you're going to use a green screen, that doesn't look, obviously it will look like how you want it to look, but it won't look as professional. And also if you're going to use Dominic wearing black clothes, you have to the contrast between each one.
Can Dominic act? I don't know. Is he a good actor?
Yeah, his character within itself is quite good.
Because you're asking someone to actually, it's quite out of people's comfort zone, because he's going to have to look like really stupid, basically, isn't he, in terms of...
Yeah, Dominic doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't think it's any different to how he usually acts. I think what you want, honestly, on an honest level, like, he's a bit mental.
Right. Okay. I just thought Dominic was quite nice, personally,
what areas could be improved?
I'm going to be controversial. I think it needs to have the woman singing in it. I think that's like a really major part of the song, and
Yeah.
also remember the whole point of the exercise of this is to represent your artist, and I think to not have her singing is just really weird.
Yeah.
I just think you can't get out of that. Like, that's a really strong, powerful voice she has, but what you might want to do is, if you do want it to be separate, which that does sometimes happen where people feature on people's songs or whatever, you might have her just somewhere like the opposite, in a black room with a white outfit on, so she's contrasting, or something like that, singing in a sort. I think she sounds a bit sort of 1950s style, like a big microphone type look, and then you could maybe have again this sort of cameo thing. She could be his nurse in the flash or something like that, so that they're involved together, but you haven't got to have her too much in it. But I think you do need both of them because they are a duo.
Yeah.
Even if you're going to reinvent them as something else, that woman singing is so strong. You need to have some sort of performance from the woman.
Okay. What areas do you really like?
Jenna, what area would you really like?
I just like the layout of how it's going to be, and like the cast that you're going to pick to make it fit and feel like the rapper guy. He fits the Dominic's personality, and you haven't got someone who's like dull and boring to do it. You've got someone who would actually do it.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's surreal. Like all of our videos, they're quite generic with narrative or non-narrative, but it's surreal. So it actually would capture. It would actually, people can watch it over and over again just to see small bits because it's quite psycho if you think about it. So that's what I really like about it.
Lovely, thank you.